Now, for one final thing before we wrap up, because I know it's getting on now,
I'm
and
so hungry right now.
I want to do one final thing, and that is go back to our website here because there is an option to download this as a hex file, and there is also the option to bring it down as a text file. I'm going to have a look at hex file, see what it looks like. Open it up; it's got the figures already in there. That sounds like a good way of starting. We won't have to sanitize our data, but we will have to use something different to open up this file. So I'm going to save this in my downloads. This one's called Autumn Comfort 18, and I'm going to take a copy of that. Um, Hex already exists. I don't need to save that, do I? Duh. Okay. So now what we can do is I don't know the extension of that file, so we might have to have a quick look at the file again. Hold on a moment. Downloads. Autumn Comfort. It says it's a hex file. Is that a dot hex? Yes, it is a dot hex. Okay, because we'll need that in a moment to open up our file. Okay, so we're going to go to the top here, and I'm going to comment out this colors from web because we're not going to use that, but we are going to create another list. So we can still do colors from web. We can still call it that, but this time we're going to open things up. So I'm going to use with open, and what this will do is it will automatically close the file afterwards. Otherwise, you can end up with memory leaks if you open things and don't close them. So I need to go directly to my C drive, and this is where Jenny earlier on we were talking about the differences between PC and um, Linux, Mac OS. This file path will be different. So I'm going to go to my users directory. I'm going to go to my user. And of course, this will vary from your computer to other computers. I'm going to have a deeper dive look at this because I want to be able to um, give everybody a way of doing this for each individual operating system. I'll pop those on my YouTube channel. So we're going to open up that file. The reason why we're using double slashes, by the way, is because slash is a special character, essentially, so we need to use two of them. And then we can open it up as R. And then here, let's close off that bracket. Good. And this is where an IDE would really help us out here because our code completion um, is somewhat challenging. And then what I can do is because in our do I still have the text file open? No. If I open it up here, each one of these is on a new line.
Jenny says, "Can you use percent username percent instead of all that, Mikey?"
I have no idea. Probably not is the answer.
Yeah, that sounds.
That sounds very Windowsy.
Yeah, that sounds operating system specific because I don't think that would work on my operating system.
So once again, we can do colors from web, and then we're going to have that assign each one of those to f dot, and then there's a function we can use to read individual lines. Now, I'm hoping I haven't made any typos there. I'm going to save my file. One of the things I haven't mentioned and haven't done, and I should have done, is save my file. Using Python and having it run multiple times, if you get something wrong, you can cause Blender to crash. Just bear that in mind as we're going through. Right, now, if I go ahead and play that, I do have an error. So let's go ahead and open up the console. Line 11 module, no such file or directory. I've got to documents, haven't I, instead of downloads?
Probably.
So Mikey, it's downloads, and let's try running that again. Oh, yes. So we've done some sanitization in the past. We don't actually need to do that in this particular case. So before, what we were doing was doing a bit of sanitization because it had the hash symbol at the front. I know, is that also known as the pound symbol? To me, a pound
It
symbol.
is. In fact, it was known as the pound symbol first because it used to be used by accountants in pre-printing days as a shortcut for the British pound symbol.
Yes. And there we go. So
You're glad you asked.
I knew you'd know the answer to that. So one of the things that we were doing here is we won't need to sanitize to the same extent, and this is going right way back to the beginning when I was talking about depending on how you're bringing your information in will depend on how you have to sanitize it. So it's best to do that part manually if you can, or get it in a format that's consistent each time. So now we're doing a list of hex values, and we were splitting. Well, we should already have this as a list, and what we can do is confirm that. I'm going to move that over one side so we can see any errors as we go through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and literally comment out all of that so we can just test again at the very top. So I'm going to print out my colors from web. And the reason why I've muted everything else, I've commented it out, is so I can see what's coming in. And look at that, we've got this all coming in, and that looks very familiar. So we're not going to have to split it like we did before, but to keep our code nice and short, and instead of having to update everything here, we could change this list of hex values. We could actually set it up here as list of hex values instead.
Jenny says os.getlogin appears to be the correct way to get the username. Nice.
I'll get back to that in a second because I'm mid-thought on here. Colors from web. I don't need to reassign that here anymore. So I'm just going to comment that out as well so I can flip-flop if I want to. I'm going to save my file and run it. Colors from web is not defined. Oh, duh. There we go. So we've got everything coming through. It looks like it's working. That doesn't mean it has worked. So what we'll do... Aha! We've got the special character at the end. That's what this invisible character that comes through. See, it's invisible to us until we start adding it into names, and then it's not. But that's a bug to fix another day. 3010-1D. 3010-1D. Perfect. Let's turn off use nodes. 30...
Vatex asks, aside from the educational value of learning how to code, is there an advantage to having a color palette imported as materials versus using it as a texture with one material, using UVs for assigning colors?
That's a great question. So it would depend on how you want to approach your actual modeling. So one of the benefits of having individual materials is it gives you more material control. In fact, what I'll do here, hold on, I want to talk.
I mean, I can think of a use case right now, which is the God of War Action RPG, where we're using the Low Spec 500 palette from Low Spec from that website. And I've been using them in Godot 3 and into Godot 4. And Mikey wants to make the assets afresh for the upcoming course. So rather than me having to recreate everything in Godot, if he brings them in as the materials he wants, I can just use those materials.
Yes. And to summarize what Jan just said then, rather than repeat, that is, so you've got all of these materials coming across rather than one material mapped to various UV colors. Mm-hmm. So there is an optimization question there. You know, each object might have 3, 4, 5 materials, which might be seen as not optimal. However, it also means that in engine, you can actually reassign those materials and do things with those materials individually. So if you want part of your, say you have a magic spell that makes someone invisible, you can grab those materials that are on that particular character and make them invisible. I mean, that's perhaps
well, there's all kinds of things. Let's say I change my mind about the eyes of a skeleton.
Yeah.
Or this one's a boss and needs a different material. This allows me to do that. Whereas if it was all one material, I mean, I guess we could do that by each time reloading an image file, but now we're going into editing image files and opening a third program. So it's totally doable and it's absolutely fine. It's just which workflow you're using.
Yes, it's genuinely a workflow question. I'm just trying what Jenny said here. Get
login.
Just get login. OS get login. Yeah, oh, that just gives me my key. It doesn't give me the actual path, which is critical for actually working this out. Now, obviously, you you could write some script to actually get the right place, but that just gives me the user that I'm logging into. So I can at least replace the Mikey part for all Windows users with whatever the username is, which
Mhm.
is great. And then we'd have to do some string addition, some string concatenation to put it all together. So yes, we can use that. Thanks for finding that, Jenny. Awesome. Any other questions?
Hooray! Any other questions, concerns, thoughts, comments, jingles, or interpretive dances?
And I hope you've gotten a lot out of this evening.
I mean, I have. It's always fun watching Blender, especially Python.
I practiced some of this in different varieties of it before the stream, just to make sure that I was going the right way. And you know what I did? I decided to start with a completely different method.
Good.
So that's why there was a bit of a pause at the beginning. I was like, why have I done it this way? Okay, we will do it this way then. That's absolutely
Now,
fine.
just so you know, there's a shadow just under the mic onto your shirt. So the camera right of your shirt is flickering in and out of existence.
No, there's not. No, there's not. Look, I can do that. It's sorted.
There you go.
Now, I hope you've all gotten lots from this evening. As I said, I'm going to break down things in a little bit more detail and more concisely over on my channel as well, because I want to play around with Python even more. And later on, maybe not this year, but maybe at the beginning of next year, there will be a Python Blender course coming. And
very cool.
This is
and
kind of
I intend to break down
as
too.
Well. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening, and we shall be back next week with some analysis, and we'll give you more information about that in the Discord
when we've picked it.
Yeah.
Yep. From pathlib import path.home.
Is pathlib. I'm just going to test that before we go.
Vertex says thank you. Jenny says thank you. Munzer says thank you. Basically,
Awesome.
people are thankful.
Excellent.
It's like Thanksgiving, but there's less food.
I'm just seeing whether pathlib is one of the built-in things. It is. Brilliant. So path.home. Path with a capital P, import path. Oh, from import pathlib, import path. So path.home. Pathlib.
I'm not just being weird, by the way. There's some weird arthritis happening in my hand right now.
Okay. No worries. Well, I'm just trying that now. So from pathlib. Pathlib is available for Blender to use without importing anything else. Path with a capital P. No, it doesn't find it from pathlib. Oh, I can't type.
You could have just copied it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird, Jenny. I mean, I appreciate. Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yes, Windows Path. Pathlib, by the way, when I was playing with Blender Python a few weeks back, it was the one that I couldn't remember that is the more modern way of using it than the OS module. So, so that is brilliant.
Nice
one thing it does do, though, is it brings in C:/users/. So I'm not sure whether it will be able to put the double slashes in. May need a bit of string manipulation to get that working. I don't know.
But we now know how to do that. Not who to do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. And we will see you same time next week. Bye.
Bye. Push it. Push it. Push it.